We're here with Greg Trefry. He's one of the founders of VOXPOP, which does really interesting social simulations in the classroom.
Hi,
Greg.
Great to meet you, Alexander.
Tell us about what VOXPOP does.
So it's a platform for live action history and civics based role plays for the classroom. So a teacher uses it to, display information about a specific event. So in this case, we're showing one about the Louisiana Purchase. And then kids are assigned to different groups to represent those perspectives. So Western settler, Democratic, Republican, and they get to learn a little bit about what is that person, what would my group's perspective have been, to understand that every problem is complicated. And there's lots of different ways that people might have approached it, and then they argue out how they would do it. So in this case, would they have when they're doing the Louisiana Purchase, would they have done it through executive action or amended the Constitution? Should we have bought the entire territory or just a strategic purchase? And then we really want to use the software as a way to give kids information, but then we want them to just argue and talk with one another and figure out how to solve problems together.
Yeah. And that argumentation and discussion and discourse is something that is such a valuable part of classroom experience that sometimes we don't see in a lot of tech products.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
There's a lot of a lot of this was born out of being teachers are really good at that. They're really good at facilitating that. What we just want to give them a little bit of media that help them do that, get the conversation going. And so we're constantly trying to get out of the teacher's way and be like, you just use this to kind of move them along, but if the conversation here is interesting, then draw it out. Or if you want to move it along, you just hit next.
Right.
Because they kind of know who's going to say what. How can we bring this conversation to life for folks?
Yeah. One thing that we think a lot about on our podcast is about how AI has the potential to create really rich classroom discussions or to isolate students and sort of them and their AI tutor sitting in a corner alone. This is, I think, a really positive vision of it. Do you plan on incorporating AI into what you're doing at VOXPOP?
We do. We actually just got a grant from the DOE SBIR program to look into that. Where we similarly don't want people to we don't want their noses buried in the device so much as use it as a way to generate empathy. So one thing they have to do now, they have to represent these perspectives. And that's a big ask, for a kid just to be okay, I'm a cabinet advisor, I think this. And so we're going to make a simulation that's where you're a House member and you have to represent a certain district. So you have to represent the 10th District of Ohio. And we'll use the AI to generate constituents that you can talk to and have conversations with, because we've been working with some folks at NYU and got even short conversations, even if it's AI, actually really help generate a fair amount of empathy with that person. So you get a little perspective of what do those people need? Then you have to turn around and argue your classmates. You've been talking to different constituents about what they need and then figure out how you solve the problem.
Yeah, it's a really powerful civics exercise about representation.
Yes, that's what we thought. It's we live in a representative democracy. You don't necessarily have to agree with people, but you do know that you have to represent them.
100%. What do you make of the EdTech conference? We're here. It's just the first hour or so.
Yeah, it's great so far. We've met a lot of interesting folks. Very much enjoying it. There's a nice, intense vibe in the room right now.
Yeah, it is. Oh, well, have an awesome conference.
Thanks. Yeah, you too. Take care.